What the hell? That's bullshit. When did that start? So is it like a flat rate or what? Oh, yeah, that's bullshit. Dope, dope, dope.
Everybody, welcome into a late night episode of some mock drafting with me and Bobby. Yeah, Asker came for therapy, stayed for the NFL. What's up, Asker? Man, right here at the very beginning. Asker, what's up, man? Glad to see you. Me and Bobby, we're going to be mock drafting right now. Bobby is drafting from the 5th spot. I'm drafting from the 9th spot. We are celebrating the Better and Green Fantasy Draft Guide coming out this Thursday midnight. So really it's going to be Friday. But Bobby, you said that you got to see it today, a little bit of the preview that came out, and you said you felt a little cock teased. Are you doing okay?
I'm okay, but there was a situation where I had to pay my ER visit deductible because I did end up with an erection lasting longer than 4 hours. So thankfully that's been resolved.
Cool.
To our medical personnel out there, I appreciate it.
I'm glad to hear that, Bobby. I'm glad you're doing all right. And guys, if you want to go out there to get the boner-inducing draft guide, right now you guys can get it on on our website, bettergreen.com. Guys, it's over 140 pages of all the fantasy football information that you need. And also, for your fantasy football drafts, you guys have to get over to draftkits.co. Use our code BIG24. Get 10% off your guys' draft guides. Once again, one of the people that we can't recommend enough. We absolutely love working with those guys. And if you're going to have a live draft, you have to use them. Throw us back in here.
I was saying
there we
all
go.
fair. There we go.
There you go. We're back. Okay. All right, yeah, so me and Bobby's starting from the 5. I'm starting from, I believe, the 9. Bobby, you ready to get started, man?
Yeah, let's dive in.
All right. Here, let me throw out the sound effect real quick. I'll find a way for one day us to be able to hear it along with the audience, Bobby.
That'd be dope.
Yes. All right. Bobby, up to this point, not a lot of surprises, huh?
No, definitely not up until this point. Pretty much to be expected. Tyreek, CD, McCaffrey, Amon-Ra. Yeah. So we're doing 2 minutes for your pick. Pretty standard right now. I'll let you fill in everybody else and the rest of the parameters while I think about this pick, Ben.
Yes. Right now we're doing 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver. What else are we doing? I think tight end, a flex, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker, defense. Don't say stuff without proof. If you're coming, you gotta prove it. Ask her, download it, dude. Right now, get it for $10. It's 50% off right now until it goes live this Friday.
And the preview is absolutely free. You just add it to your cart, but it's $0, 0 cents. And once you add it to your cart and hit submit, then you automatically are able to download it from your email address wherever you choose for it to be sent.
Yeah, good point, Bobby. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, the if you want to check it out, I believe it's like 7 pages. You guys can get that for free. All right, so the top 3 running backs are off the board: Bijan, Brees Hall, Christian McCaffrey, Lamb, Hill, St. Brown, Jefferson, Chase are all gone. At this point, right now, if I'm looking at running backs, I could do Gibbs or a Taylor. Can I still buy it with negative 77 cents? You can absolutely get the preview for negative 77 cents. I'm in debt. Well, the preview's all for you, Esker. And you can get last year's version. That's also free. And, I really love going running backs with my first pick. But here, I just feel like with Bijan taken, I don't really want to go down to Gibbs yet. So I think at this point, I would probably take AJ Brown here.
Good choice. Good choice.
Thank you.
I'm still feeling like Wilson and Nakua are going way too high for my blood. I get it's a 12 team, but man.
I agree. I think I would still want AJ Brown and Marvin Harrison over both of them also.
100%. Even Harrison. I know he's a rookie and there's that uncertainty there, but I think Kyler is 100% still better than people give him credit for. People forget last year was the year back from injury. The offense as a whole has a lot more weapons. That line seems to be improving. They seem to be kind of gelling better together, and he's further removed from injury. Like, I don't know. I'm just not really getting it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Bobby. Looking at the wide receivers here, we got London, Adams, Olave, Ayuk, Collins. Don't really love any of those guys. So hopping over to running back, Kyron Williams, Travis Etienne, A-Chain, Henry, Jacobs. Also, we could take the first tight end off the board. We could take Laporta here. I think I am going to go running back. I think Kyron Williams is going to see enough of that volume to really be a factor. All right, Drake London, our first quarterback off the board, Josh Allen and Brandon Ayuk. Bobby, back to you. How are you going to start your draft?
Yeah, I went a little bit different. I like to flip-flop on drafts. I usually either go running back or wide receiver first. On the last mock we did, I went with Tyreek because I was able to get Tyreek at the 4, I believe I was drafting from last time. So Tyreek had not yet went, so I took him just because Tyreek's one of those guys, yeah, I get he's getting up there in age and wear and tear, but you're not really going to get a guy slotted in for nearly as much volume at the elite, almost 2,000-yard level with touchdowns to boot as Tyreek Hill. Like, guy's just a target hog, and 100% would rather have him and Brees Hall over, like I said, Nakua and Garrett Wilson. Like Brees Hall, people are very down on Brees Hall sometimes. Like, he's very polarizing, but man, I think the offensive line is going to be a lot better for the Jets. The Jets. It's going to be a lot better line. He's going to have way more lanes to work with and everything. Plus, he has that receiving threat. He's a home run guy with the speed he has. I'm really a Brees Hall guy. I wish I could find him, honestly. Wish I could work something out with him on my team.
I like that, though. Going Waddle.
Yeah, I almost didn't get him. I almost clock almost expired.
I think I just turned the clock off. So
there we go.
We got Jalen Waddle, then Sam Laporta went, Olave, Adams, Jacobs, Collins, A-Chain, Diggs, and Henry.
Henry's in a good spot this year, I feel, but once again, out of all the running backs that are still left here on the board, I'm not too particularly interested in taking him at that spot. That's still a little too rich for my blood. Diggs is intriguing. I don't blame anybody for that. A-Chain, that's a good one. Nico's pretty good. Nothing really out of the ordinary so far. Bit early on quarterback, in my humble opinion, even though you're getting the consensus number 1 in half PPR last year, but still.
I agree, man. And I think one of the big things I've been seeing is that the early rounds have just been dominated by receiver.
Yeah, 100%. It feels like a lot of people are. Feels like running backs kind of getting faded, or at least like if you don't get one of the top 3, 4 guys, like if you don't get Brees or Bijan or Gibbs or any variation of them, including Taylor, it's like a lot of people just feel like running back drops off a cliff after that.
Right.
Me personally, I kind of disagree. Like I think there's still some good diamond in the rough potential running back candidates out there that, depending on where you get them, could really get some good value, some good return on your investment, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. Yeah. So who are you going with here, Bobby?
This is another guy that's been very contentious, and I really don't understand why, and especially where I'm getting him right now at the 3-5. I'm going to go Travis Etienne.
I like that, especially I think he's gonna be a lot of RB1s on people's teams this year. Getting him as your number 2, he's even if he doesn't reach that ceiling, you're still in good shape.
Right. The team was a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're okay. I was just saying Pacheco, Evans, and Samuel went right after.
Yeah, Etienne. People are forgetting that Jags team honestly really shit the bed last year after having a really good 2022. Trevor Lawrence was struggling with some injuries. The timing as an offensive unit seemed off. There were a lot of near misses on receivers that should have been completed. Some of that's Trevor's fault. Some of that's the receiving options fault. But obviously the offensive line was one of the worst lines in the league. I think they're going to clean it up, and I think they're going to be a lot better. And my point with all that is, even with all of their woes on offense last year, and how terrible and dysfunctional they look, Travis Etienne finished as the number 3 and half PPR running back last year, behind only McCaffrey, and I forget who the number 2 was last year. But yeah, behind McCaffrey, maybe could have been Brees, maybe. But since Brees was coming back from the injury, I don't know if he had enough volume. Let me try to figure that out right quick.
I know he had a lot of receptions. While you're looking that up, so what I'm looking at here is I'm looking to get another running back or receiver. James Cook is the running back that I'm looking at here. I've also got Rachaad White, Mixon, Walker on the board. Let's see if I pop this up. You guys can see a little bit what I'm seeing over here. We got some running backs left, wide receivers. I like Neighbors a lot. I think worst case scenario is that I end up Devontae Smith is the best one on the board, and then I end up with both Smith and AJ Brown, which I really don't want that situation. But I think James Cook is going to just be too good of a running back to pass up here, and I think pairing him with Kyren is going to be a really nice floor for volume. All right, looks like Kelsey and Mahomes win at the turn. We got a little cheese sack with Jonathan Taylor action, then Jalen Hurts, then Pittman, so it comes back to me. And see, that is exactly what I was afraid of. Devontae Smith would be the highest rated one left. I would start to consider a tight end here. Trey McBride, Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid. There's really 5 tight ends I want. One of those 3 or Laporta or Kelsey. Laporta, Kelsey are gone already. So I'll hop over to wide receiver. Cooper Kupp's interesting to me. Zay Flowers is interesting. I think I'm going to go a little bit off the beaten path of ADP, and I'm going to take a shot on George Pickens here as my wide receiver too.
I don't hate that at all, man. Really think that Steelers offense, it's another one of my dark horse candidate teams this year. The Steelers are right up there with the Cardinals.
Yeah. All right, Bobby, you're back, bud.
So the number 2 running back in half PPR last year, right behind Christian McCaffrey, who do you think that would be last year? You said Brees, right? That's who you thought it was?
Yeah.
No, and I know how you feel about this person.
Okay, who is it?
Raheem Mostert last year.
Oh, gag.
Raheem Mostert was number 2. Etienne was 3.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, here there's clearly a run on QBs and tight ends right now. Trey McBride went a few before me. I am really high on Trey McBride. That is a guy I would love to have, but unfortunately, I cannot have him in my home league. Nor can I have him in this mock, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go with Mark Andrews. Too bad Lamar just went literally right before me. That'd be a great stack to have, but I'm going to go with Mark.
I like that, man. I like that Mark Andrews. Now I'm going to start sweating here because about all the tight ends that I really want are almost all gone. I like that Andrews pick.
So here's where it sucks with drafts, especially with leagues this big with like a 12-teamer. You want to find that balance between not being overly reactionary to what's going on around you, but also managing the fact that if you wait much longer, you're going to quickly dry up that pool of available QB talent. And so even though this is a 1 QB league, obviously in Superflex it plays a lot more of a role. I'm still wanting to get an elite quarterback. I'm still wanting to get a very good one. There's still some great options out there. So this is where you ask yourself, do you wait and think that the rest of your league is gonna end this QB rush, or do you think it's gonna keep going? This is where you kind of have to ask yourself that.
So looking forward to, you got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams. 4 of them already have quarterbacks. Then you got about 3 without, and one of them is me. And you know how I feel about that. So a big part of it too is knowing your league. So that's going to play into your strategy here, I'm sure.
Yeah, 100%. There's always, you just got to look at a lot of things while you're drafting, especially in a 12-teamer. You got to constantly be aware of, like, it's just so strategic. You know, a lot of people like to laugh, and it's like, oh, you're managing a fake football team. It's like there's a lot of strategy involved in this. That's why I enjoy it. It's like a real-time strategy game.
Right. So who are you going with here, Bobby?
I think I'm gonna wait on QB. Looking at running backs, I'm not crazy about the options that are left right now, but I could make some of them work. What I'm really worried about now with Breece and Travis is my big 2 right now. I'm looking to try to take a receiver. So now it's just boiling down to, okay, I'm thinking I'm going to start deviating a little bit from ADP here potentially. And you know what? I'm going to do something a little different here, and I'm actually going to go with damn. You know what? I'm just going to do it because I think people are counting him out. I think T. Higgins is going to have a bounce-back year. Joe Burrow is going to have a bounce-back year. I was looking at Zay Flowers, but I don't want to put too much into that Baltimore offense already having Andrews. I don't like to try to draft too many players from the same team, especially when they're both receiving options. Like I said, if I could have had Lamar, that would have been perfect. Lamar throwing to Mark, but I'm not interested in, Zay and Mark. That's just a headache.
Right.
So I'll gladly take T. Higgins, especially at the 5.5. I feel like hands down right now, he is the most undervalued player probably out right now.
You're probably right about that too. Because Higgins, I mean, it looks like he's staying in Cincinnati, and Joe Burrow coming back healthy. Getting him in the 5th now, you probably would have been having to draft him, I'm guessing that 3rd round. I think he'd go in this area of Evans, Diggs, Collins. I believe he'd probably go over Collins.
Yeah, Collins I get how great he was last year, but Stephon Diggs was not there last year.
Right.
And I know a lot of people think Diggs is cooked. I think he personally has more in the tank, and he's going to definitely command his fair share of targets for at least the next year.
I agree. I was lucky that Pitts went, so I left one of my 5 available, and like I said, this is perfect because I still get one of my guys, but I get him late. I was lucky that he fell to me, so I'm going to take Dalton Kincaid here. he's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
be,
huge.
yeah, I
That's
think
huge
he's.
that he was able to fall.
I'm very happy about that. I'm very happy about that because I really think that Kincaid's going to eat quite a bit in this Buffalo offense, trying to figure out life without Diggs and without our boy Gabe Davis. All right. So here we can get a quarterback, which I think we're going to keep waiting on. We want to get our first flex player. We got DeAndre Swift available, Najee Harris, Amir White, Raheem Mostert, the second best guy in fantasy last year. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for Mostert this year. Kirk, McLaurin, Addison, Worthy, Godwin, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice.
What do you think about Jordan Addison with his potential DUI charge?
Oh, man. That guy was already going to have a hard enough time with J.J. McCarthy or Sam Darnold, whoever is going to be throwing the ball out in Minnesota. And now he's got this. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It might be like Rashee Rice. We'll have to see what his court date is.
Right.
I'm going to take Calvin Ridley here. I just think he's going to get a lot of that volume. I'm
I
probably
appreciate
too
it.
high on Calvin Ridley, but I really like Calvin Ridley this year.
So this is interesting because a bunch of guys I wanted just went right before me. Like I would have been perfectly fine with Ridley where you took him. Kirk, that's another guy severely underrated right now. Once again, I know the Jaguars have had some woes on offense last year, but he missed a few games with a groin injury. Like, man, was like in 2022 or 2023 was a stud. I believe top 10 finish that year. Just an absolute stud. So would have definitely enjoyed him. Same with Swift. Swift is very undervalued right now. McLaren,
Agreed.
Consistently 1,000-yard output with mediocre quarterback play, carousel quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels seems to be so far potentially as good as advertised. I think he's going to deliver. So yeah, I'm pretty balanced right now. I have 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end. I'm feeling pretty good about my overall construction right here. Looking at the rest of the receivers, I'm not really thrilled with my my suggested choices here. Jaden Reed I like, but man, Green Bay is just so much talent.
Loaded.
So much talent there. Addison, we just talked about. Quarterback situation is sketchy to me right now. People really forget how bad Darnold was on the Panthers and the whole DUI thing. Maybe it waits until next year. Maybe they expedite it because it's a DUI, and they literally just had a guy on their team, Kyrie Jackson, die, unfortunately, in a drunk driving related accident.
Yeah.
Huge PR nightmare for them. I'm not touching Addison with a 10-foot pole, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Worthy, I did an article about Worthy. You'll see why I'm out on him. You know what? I'm going to do something I wouldn't ordinarily do, and I'm going to continue to wait on QB. Normally, I'm the guy who likes QBs, but I'm going to wait some more. And I'm actually, while I still have good value on it, I'm going to go with David Montgomery. I feel like that's a steal at 6'8". Like at 6'8", that's just a steal.
Pound the ball, man.
All right, it's coming back to me. And that works out because the next guy I had my eye on that I'm actually really wanting is going to be – I was originally thinking Hollywood because I really think he's going to be a good option on that team this year for this 1-year option that he's got with the team. But instead, I'm going to do something that a lot of people are going to be like, why are you doing this? And then I'll explain. I'm going to go Rashee Rice.
Okay.
Here's why I want Rashee. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, all right, I'm ready for you to explain this.
So Rashee Rice, as you're going to see if you read my article that I wrote about why I'm out on Xavier Worthy, I truly believe deep down in my plums, we don't see a Rashee Rice suspension this year. Next year's a different story. This year, right now, there's a news station out of Kansas City that says that his trial for that it wasn't a drunk driving, it was a reckless driving or whatever in Dallas. That doesn't even start until December 9th of this year. The photographer thing, where he assaulted the photographer, that's been dropped at the photographer's request. They don't even care about the fact he hired guys to shoot up his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend's car or whatever. They knew about that before the draft and still selected him. So that's the only thing he's facing right now. The American justice system isn't exactly fast at dealing with this. He's going to have good lawyers. They're going to delay it. They're going to drag it out. Worst case scenario, it starts December 9th and ends, I don't know, December 21st. All the fantasy implications are out the window because who's still in a league that still has, playoffs are set by then. You're probably playing playoffs or, well eliminated by then, whatever the case may be. I don't think he's going to be negatively impacted for fantasy or real life until possibly next season. We're looking at an Alvin Kamara type situation.
And that's a really good point. I don't think anybody's bringing up right now. So that's a great insight, Bobby. That could be quite the steal too, getting him in, what is it, the 7th round?
Right.
I'm going to take a player that I have not drafted much at all, but I'm going to take him here just because I think he's going to see more volume than a lot of these other guys. That's going to be Zamir White of the Raiders.
That's hard for me to figure out, that guy.
I'm not in love with the player, but they didn't do anything. They didn't bring in anybody to really push on. They brought in Alexander Madison, who was horrible last year. I think Zamir White, he's just going to get all the possessions that he can take. And at this point in the draft, I mean, like Brooks coming off of ACL, nah. Pollard in Tennessee, maybe, but I could see Spears really eating into his workload this year, and Pollard didn't look great last year. Javonte Williams was the other running back I was kind of going back and forth with. I think Javonte still keeps that starting job, but with I don't know, Estime with him and McLaughlin, I think they steal more touches than Zamir White gets his touches stolen, but I still think Javonte Williams sees the majority of the action by far. Oh, man. Now, at this point, should I do it? I'm going to lose this player if I don't draft him here, but I'm worried about losing the other one as well. You know what? I'm going to leave the other one just to see what happens. So I will take Austin Eckler here.
Oh, that's who I was going to grab. I was hoping he was going to fall to me.
See, we're thinking alike there, man. Eckler, bringing in this new coaching staff brought him in to be a dump-off target for Jaden Daniels, just like the Bears did for DeAndre Swift and Caleb Williams. Everybody's sleeping on him. He's like running back 30. You can see all these other guys that went ahead of him. The very next one was Chubb coming off a horrific knee injury. Stop it. Stop playing with me with Eckler.
Yeah, especially if I would have snagged him at the 8-8 where I'm at right now, that would have been huge.
That would have been massive, dude.
Yeah, at this stage now, I'm still trying to hold off on quarterbacks since most teams, actually it looks like damn near every team except for you and I.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I are the only ones that do not yet have quarterbacks. So at this point, I'm still a little comfortable with the options I have on trying to hold out on quarterbacks since this is just a 1 QB league. Not loving my running back options now that Eckler's off the board. No faith in Zach Moss personally. Warren's interesting, but I don't know if I can justify it normally. So instead, I'm going to go with a guy who, once again, I think people are looking a little too much into the whole Tony Pollard thing. I kind of think Tajay, but actually,
It's tough.
Yeah, it is tough at this point. At this point, it's, you know what, I'm going to go with best available at this point since I'm not crazy about my running back options, since I still feel confident with my wide receiver options. I'm going to You know what? Since I don't have Kirk, since somebody took Kirk, I don't know why people are low on this guy either. It seems like community is a little low on Brian Thomas, and I'm not understanding that.
Just what is he gonna get between Gabe Davis and Christian Kirk? I think is the main concern. If there's gonna be enough volume for Thomas in his rookie year,
I'm just not trusting. I know Kirk could get his, so Kirk is a concern. Kirk and Ingram to me are the biggest concerns.
Right.
Davis, I feel like Davis is just a field stretcher, and field stretchers are very unpredictable.
Agreed. Look at that turn, though. Keon Coleman and Trey Benson, though. That's the better and green curve right there.
Yeah, no shit. That's what I would have liked to have, but once again, they sneaked it up right. They snaked it past me.
Yeah.
Who's still out there?
We got some good. Caleb Williams is the next highest ranking player. Then JSN, Christian Watson, Purdy, Tua, Goddard, Brian Robinson, TJ Hawkinson, Jamison Williams, and Spears. What do you think about Gus Edwards being named the, beat reporters saying that he's going to be the starter running back in Los Angeles for the Chargers? Are you believing that?
I believe it simply because he's healthy right now, to my knowledge. I mean, J.K. Dobbins was just a phenomenal guy. You know, I tried to get him from you in our home league so many times, but he's just so cursed.
He is, dude. He really is.
I'm going to go Tyjae Spears here. I really think people overestimate Pollard. I think it'd be a very close situation here.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that Spears pick. All right, so we're looking at, I've got Brown, Kyron, Cook, Pickens, Kincaid, Ridley, Zamir White, Austin Eckler. And here I think I'll take my shot. I'll hop over the quarterback tab, and I'll take my shot on the Dome God, the Goofmeister.
Damn it, that's who I was also hoping. We're thinking a lot alike on this because I was hoping he would be like one of the last ones left because everybody's like, oh, Jared Goff, the not sexy option.
Yeah, I felt it coming, man. I'll see that. It's because we've been doing too much mock drafts and stuff together. We're working on too much better and green stuff. Our minds start mending together.
And now the damn AIs decide, no, this is the perfect place to take my second elite quarterback. Well, it's a one quarterback league.
Right. Hey, you still get your Jaden Daniels. Look at him just sitting there.
Yeah, he's still good. It's just relying on him to be my number one and my one QB is the only thing that gives me a little pause.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I'm probably going to be doing it to you again here. I apologize, but I'm going to get the stack of Jared Goff. I'm going to go Jamison Williams.
Bring that ass back like a boom, boom,
that would have been nice pick there. Yeah, at this point, I can't wait much longer on QBs. Herbert's out there. Me personally, I'm out on Herbert, even though that offensive line is a monster.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the equivalent of putting a Hellcat engine in a minivan. What are you going to do with it? And you don't have anybody besides McConkey to throw to. I am not an Aaron Rodgers guy. Stafford's interesting. I'm out on Cousins this year. I think Cousins is way overvalued right now. Another Achilles injury guy that we're not even sure will start the season. I've heard no updates on his progress. Have you?
I think he's going to be ready by week 1. I think they're expecting him to be ready by week 1.
Oh, gotcha. Is he taking the same shamanistic approach that Rodgers was then?
No, so he's probably not going to be nearly as healthy as Rodgers. He was able to come back mid-season if they were in playoff contention.
Right.
Totally not that everybody knew they were going to suck and never make the playoffs.
Right. I'm gonna go with reliable here. I'm gonna stack Lawrence with Brian Thomas and hope that pays dividends.
Okay, I like that, man.
Back to me. Mike Williams left. Chase Brown left. Schultz left. Dobbs left.
The running back position is getting pretty dire right now.
Actually, I really like what I have right here that I'm left with at running back because I am going to take. Let's see, I got 3 receivers, 4 running backs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I have 4 and 4. So I'm constructing a pretty balanced team. Brees, Etienne, Montgomery, Spears, my 4 running backs. Waddle, Higgins, Rice, Thomas, my 4 receivers. So pretty balanced right here.
Yeah.
Left with some good options here. Let's see. We're even starting to get dire at receiver as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I'm going to do something a little different here because I actually. I like this pick because I don't see how Nick Chubb is ready for at least the first 3 weeks of the season.
I love that pick. I think Jerome Ford, you said first 3 weeks of the season. I think Ford carries the majority of the workload, possibly the entire season. I think Chubb's going to be more of a complimentary player when he does come back. I mean, that was a catastrophic knee injury. And everybody's just writing Ford off like he's nothing, but Kareem Hunt's gone. And then now you're going to have Nick Chubb coming back. But Jerome Ford, with as late as you can get him, I love that pick, Bobby.
I think everybody's hyped up off the 600-pound squat video making the rounds. And I get it. That's impressive. But there's a far cry between that and cutting, accelerating, dodging, defending, taking contact, all that on a football field.
I agree. Jacoby Myers, Xavier Legette, Rashid Shaheed, Downs, Troy Franklin, Josh Palmer, Gabe Davis, Cooks, Dotson, Quentin Johnston. Man, I'm telling you, it ain't nice out in these streets, is it?
No, we have let's see, 3, 4, about 4 picks left in this 12 team. Yeah, this is where you start really having to kind of get the old sifter out and start really looking for your gold.
Because I was really hoping I could get Curtis Samuel or Jerry Jeudy here. Both of them went right between us. And I think I'm going to actually hop over to tight end, and I'm going to take Freiermuth.
That's a huge pick. That's nice right there.
I'm really glad I did too, seeing Komet go next. I am pretty high on Freiermuth this year.
Yeah, as am I.
I believe I wrote about him, and that's included in the free preview, isn't it?
Yes, he's one of the free access player previews.
Yes. Yeah, with Arthur Smith now taking over, and it just seems like Freiermuth's about to be in for a much bigger role in Pittsburgh. I think really it's going to help that whole offense.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Arthur Smith, if I'm being honest, for other skill position players because we saw how he massacred Bijan.
Right.
But I am a big fan of him for tight ends. My only concern is what he did with Pitts and Jonnu last year. I hope that's not the case with Freiermuth and Darnell, where somehow Darnell Washington gets those Jonnu Smith type plays and Kyle Pitts still does well. I mean, yeah, Kyle Pitts still did well and Freiermuth still does well in Pittsburgh, but it's a risk I'm willing to take, especially where you got him at. That's pretty much free.
Yeah, I agree. Since I already took Zamir White, I don't want to load up on Raiders because I don't think the Raiders are going to be very good this year. Right here, I'm looking at Troy Franklin, Gabe Davis, and Quentin Johnston. Troy Franklin, I really like Franklin because his teammate Bo Nix is hopefully and expected to be the starting quarterback for the Broncos. So we kind of see they could be a great value version of Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. They played in college, now they get to go play in the league together. Like you said, Gabe Davis seems more like a role player to me, especially since if you brought in Gabe Davis and then you go out and draft Brian Thomas Jr. in the first round, how much do they really believe in Davis? So as much as it gags me, I think I'm going to take Quentin Johnston here just based on the number of targets that are going to be up for grabs.
Yeah, if you're looking for a receiver, I do not hate that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've lost out on some guys. I would have been fine with Johnston there. Would have been fine with Kendre there. Would have actually loved Kendre there.
Yeah, I was wondering about Kendre.
As a guy, I feel like is on nobody's radar, or at least very few people's radar. Downs, he'd be my second option, but man, I wonder if Anthony Richardson is going to be as good for the rest of the team for fantasy.
Right.
If he's healthy, he's going to be great for himself for fantasy,
Right.
But the rest of the team.
Drafting Adonai Mitchell, too.
Right.
Who actually went almost, 2 rounds earlier?
Yeah, that was another guy I was looking to see if he was available. He is not. So here I feel really strong in my running backs, and I feel strong with my primary tight end. Great quarterback for my 1 QB. I'd really like to have another receiver here is what I'm trying to look at as a receiver or a tight end or potentially a quarterback, because now I'm at a weird place where I have better running back options that I would gladly take, but I'm not trying to go overboard here on running backs that I can't play. Right now I feel like I have a very solid running back group, and adding another one would be overkill. So I'm looking at Jacoby Myers, but I'm like you. I know Jacoby Myers is a reliable option. He's kind of like that Honda Civic. He's not, the best. He's not Ferrari, but he'll get you where you want to go economically. Yeah. I'm like you, man. Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew are not the guys I want to put the stake of my franchise in.
Mm-mm.
And Devontae's going to command a target share. I think he's still there for a season. I don't know where people are getting this idea that he's going to go to the Jets.
Right.
That just came up out of nowhere over the past day.
Just because Aaron Rodgers.
Right, just because Aaron Rodgers is bringing everybody from Green Bay there, like the ghost of Lazard. Didn't Cobb go over there too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just not loving my options here. But you know what? I do see a guy that at this late in the game, I'm going to take a shot on this guy because I just really want to have that other receiving option right now. And then I have a strategy for when it comes back to me. I'm hearing a lot of good things about this guy, and he's going to be playing with his college quarterback.
Yes.
After Cortland Sutton, there's nobody else to throw to. I think he can make a splash.
I love it.
And I would have taken Gabe Davis there, but my only thing is I already have Brian Thomas and Lawrence. I don't want to put too much into that Jaguars offense. But Davis would have been a great option there had I not had Brian Thomas.
Agreed.
That's what I would have probably went with. So I like taking the dart throw on Franklin playing with Nix, who's got to be the starter, right? It's not Zach Wilson.
Yeah, you would hope so. So you have one more pick before kicker and defense if you're going to go both those positions. You're going to get a second quarterback or a second tight end, or just keep going with the running back wide receivers?
Personally, I'm going to go – I like the rest of my quarterback options here as my second quarterback way more than I like my remaining tight end options. So I'm going to go with something here. I'm hearing really good things about this guy, and Zach Ertz is the only one in front of him. So I'm going to go Benson on here.
Okay. I like that, man. I like that a lot. All right, back to me. I got 2 tight ends. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 receivers. Got 4 running backs that I really like. I think I'm also going to skip a second quarterback, or we can get them on the way back. We'll fade the defenses. I'm gonna get the rookie from the Chargers. I'm gonna get Kamani Vidal.
That's a nice one at 13-9. I like that.
Yes, I do too. I think he could have a really, really good season underneath Harbaugh out there in Los Angeles. All right, so now we could take a kicker. we're just gonna hop over here, take our second quarterback, and we're gonna take Deshaun Watson with the addition of Jerry Jeudy, and just hope that they throw him more too with that Nick Chubb injury.
I think it's a great pick. I just got burned in real life from him too much, so I have a little bit of a bad taste about Deshaun Watson. So instead, this is a guy I didn't really like. Actually, I'm going to go different. I was originally going to take Baker Mayfield because you know what you're getting there. And It's a consistent, nice little option. But you know what? This late in the game, getting them at 14-8, I'm going to do something a little bit different.
I know who it is.
And I'm actually going to go with... You know what? I hate this guy in real life, but I think he'll be good for fantasy this year. And I think he's a great second quarterback option. I'm going to go Geno, actually.
Oh, Geno.
Yeah.
That is not who I was thinking you were going to go with.
I was going to go Levis.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's like... So usually in real life, I like a kicker in defense. I'm one of those weirdos who, with like my last pick, I don't mind taking a kicker or defense. If there's just nobody I like. Like last year in our real life draft, I was able to get Tajay, I think, with like my 9th pick. So obviously I went with that.
Yeah.
But usually I try to actually with my 9th or 10th pick, or in this case, 14th pick and 15th pick, I am a guy who likes to grab a defense and a kicker, but I just couldn't pass up getting my second quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Geno at that value. Like I said, not a real life Geno fan. Actually, don't like the guy at all, but I think he's going to have a great offense with the new offensive coordinator they have. He's really enjoying the scheme. He's really enjoying what they're cooking up over there. A lot of drop back opportunities. I think all the pass catchers are going to get a bump. He's going to get a bump. Running backs are going to get a bump. And people forget they're 2 starting. Shaq Leonard, I want to say, one of their starting offensive linemen, and their other starting offensive linemen were both injured in week 2 or 3 and were out for like 5 games apiece. So they lost 2 key offensive line starters early last year that missed significant amounts of time. And hopefully that doesn't happen again this year. So I think that team as a whole is going to have a really nice bounce back. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, 2 tight ends, feel great with them, 2 quarterbacks, plenty of running backs, plenty of receivers. So now, yeah, I'm looking for a defense or a kicker. So let's see what we're left here. Kicker, we got Carlson for Vegas. I know for like the past few years he was a top 10 option. I don't think that's the case anymore. Dicker, Myers, Vincenzo. Wow, kicker really drops off a cliff after this because you're left with Myers, Dicker, and Carlson. And then after that, it's literally guys not even on a team, like Randy Bullock, R. Jones, don't even know who that is, Rosas.
I was going to say, keep scrolling down, get to Gostkowski and Vinatieri. You want to get some of the Eli Manning kickers or Peyton Manning kickers?
Yeah, so let this be a lesson. If you're in a 12-teamer, if it goes like this, if you're actually going to be sucking if you punt on no pun intended on kicker and defense. So yeah, at this stage, I'm going to be ending up with.
If you go over to the points and sort of at points, it's a little better. I don't know why Sleeper arranges them like that. Like Zerline's at kicker or rank 461. Yeah, Badgley's at 543. Hopkins is at 600.
I actually don't hate the Chargers. You know what? I'm going to do something a little different here and actually take the Chargers kicker because I just think that team is going to be so – like they're probably going to be the prime example of you get halfway down the field or at least field goal range team, but you can't convert type shit. So that's why I love Dicker here actually because they're going to be like that purgatory-ass team that just can't score like a 40-year-old virgin.
Dicker, I barely know her. All right. And, you know, for a lot of times with the mocks, I'll take a kicker in defense just to fill out a team because it's just a mock. A lot of the times in our leagues, I will just not draft a kicker defense and just stream the whole year. If I can get like a Butker or a Tucker like late like this too, which again in fantasy, there's always like that a few annoying people that take their kickers early, and then you don't get them in home leagues. So I usually end up punting the position, and I'm gonna do it here also because Tyler Algier is still just sitting out there to be picked up, and if anything happens to Bijan, Algier like instantly becomes almost a running back 1.
Yeah.
So-
Tyler Algier would be in store because when he was just him backing up Patterson, and I forget who else they had, he broke 1,000 yards easy.
Yeah. All right. When you drafted Dicker, I did the meme sound of the people having sex, and Asker said, "What was that for?" Because he drafted Dicker. So now I'm gonna draft Algier. And I'm gonna give you guys the Taco Bell sound.
There we go.
Convert your draft into a sleeper league. It's 4:30 a.m. I wasn't prepared for that. Sorry, Asker. Yeah, we upgraded a little bit our lives. We got a soundboard now. Here's some Donald Trump for you. All right.
That works out perfect because there's still some good defenses out there that I'd immediately be going to the waiver wire to pick up. Like the Lions defense is still out there. Green Bay's got a pretty sneaky defense. Still some great defensive options.
I agree. And a lot of the times too, just streaming like who's playing the Patriots this week. Let's just draft them.
Right.
Looking back at your draft, I really like my team. I don't think there's anything I would change. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with how my team fell. What do you think about your team and these teams, Bobby?
As far as my team, yeah, I feel like I had some great value on these guys, especially ETN at the 3.5. Montgomery at 6.8 was a robbery. Lawrence at 10.8, robbery. 11.5 Ford, robbery. Geno 14.8, robbery. Like, yeah, I had some really good value on these guys, and I'm really happy with where I got them. I don't feel like I really reached on anybody. I felt like it was a good balance between like real life, what's going on, what's historically happened, what do I think is going to happen in the present, what's currently unfolding, what's going to happen in the future, that type of thing, and not another good balance between like getting my guys and also not being a slave to the ADP, just
Right.
kind of letting the draft play out, getting them at a good place. As far as like other teams, let me take a look at who else I think for the AI did a really good job here. So far, I like Team 1 quite a bit.
I mean,
Team 1
they're
got some picks.
They have like an really, really questionable and steep drop off at quarterback. Not quarterback. A wide receiver with Nico Collins, and then Devontae Smith could potentially be their best receiver, and then Keon
Right.
Coleman at 3. They got Dobbs and Palmer. I as much as I love Coleman, I don't want Coleman to be one of my first 3 receivers.
Well, that's true, yeah. Because I definitely was just looking at him because I'm not a Dobbs guy, and I'm definitely not a Palmer guy, and I definitely wouldn't want Dobbins. But I did like Herbert at 10-12, even though I'm not a real life Herbert guy. I wanted Murray. Ingram's a great tight end, but yeah, they were okay. But yeah, I definitely agree with you though. Now that you phrase it like that, Coleman is your 3. That's a very huge gamble. That's how risk adverse are you there?
Yeah. Team 2, I think their biggest sin is probably Schultz is their first tight end.
Yeah, I do not like that.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm a huge Schultz guy. And then I think they took a lot of gambles with Worthy and Reed, but I feel like if you have both of them and then you got Hopkins also, I feel like that can work out. Etienne, Walker, and Warren. That's pretty decent. I don't hate Team 2's team. And then looking at Team 3, you got Mixon, Singletary. Right. Moss is your number 2. Good God. And even like Mixon as a 1, like,
Yeah, it's not who I want carrying my running backs. 2 Texans, that's going to be a headache. 2 Texans receivers is going to be a headache.
Yes. Yeah, they're going to be a headache, both of them. And then Olave is great, but then once again, he's tied to Derek Carr and this crappy Saints O-line. So that scares me. Team 4 just started off drafting the Detroit Lions, apparently.
Which I don't hate that, but after Richardson, they really like up and down, up and down.
The fall off is real right there.
It's a roller coaster after Richardson because Addison, DUI, Ramondre's not bad, Deontay's not bad, but where you're getting them is not. I don't like where they were selected, I guess.
Yeah. Jefferson, Ayuk, Pacheco. I don't hate that team. I really don't hate Team 6.
I do like that Flowers Jackson stack.
Yeah.
McLaurin, Harris, Njoku. Damn.
Yeah.
This might actually be very solid, actually. Let me look this over a little bit more carefully. Let me get the monocle out. Yeah, you know what? Team 6 so far might be like the third best team after you and I, the real life players.
Right. Team 7, too. Jamar Chase, Evans, and Kupp. Pitts is your tight end. Allen is your quarterback. Like, that is really nice. Then you go to your running backs. I like DeAndre Swift. I don't want him as my one. And then you got Mostert, Chubb, Coleman, Lloyd. Like, that might be the worst running back. Yeah, that's the worst running back crew by far.
I don't get the Lloyd hype, especially with the fumbles. Huge red flag to me. Huge red flag.
Agreed. Oh, and then we got an Atlanta dude. We got Bijan Drake, and then Debo, Kirk McConkey, McBride, Aaron Jones. I feel like he lacks in depth, but that's a pretty decent team too.
My biggest thing is I love Bijan. I would have taken Ayuk before. I would have taken Waddle before. I would have taken Olave, Adams. Like, there are so many other people I would have taken over Drake London. That's my biggest problem.
Right. Yeah, I know. London's going so high. I think he's going wide receiver 13 right now, which he went pretty high in this draft, but Drake London is a round 2 pick. It's just kind of hard to swallow for me.
Same.
What do you think about Team 10? What about having Malik Neighbors being your wide receiver 1 if you start running back heavy? How do you feel about that?
I really like Neighbors, actually. I know he's another divisive, contentious guy, but damn, am I worried about Daniel Jones because the injury, was 2023, I believe it was, when they went on that run and beat the Eagles and shit even, and playoffs, I think, and everything. That was his best fantasy year, I think, was 2023. Was that just an anomaly? Can he repeat it if the O-line that they've since upgraded protects them better and all that? I really believe Neighbors is a generational talent. I believe he's as good as advertised. My biggest red flag is we have no idea if he's like that Tyreek quarterback proof level receiver. So I'm not crazy about him being my number 1 with so many unknown variables and so many guys still available. Debo was there, Mike Evans was there, Diggs was there, all these people that you could have chosen instead. That's just my biggest concern is where he was chosen. It's just, yeah.
And then you're looking at Team 11. Their first running back they didn't take until, the 8th round, Javonte. And they followed up with Brian Robinson and Charbonnet. He basically has no running backs. I feel like that's a mistake.
I do as well. I don't think the AI is smart enough to be able to analyze and think like this because this is kind of a very human way of thinking.
Right.
But I think this is them attempting to emulate a zero RB, except literally really zero, because as much as I like Javonte in real life, that is absolutely not who I want as my number 1 carrying my running backs.
Right.
I do like where they got Robinson at 10-2, but once again, that's not who I want to be propping up my running back room. But I get why they did it. It's kind of like that approach that some people take. It's a good example to follow if you do take this approach in real life, where some people, when they do running backs, they want to wait as long as they can and then just grab a bunch of handcuffs. So that's why they took Charbonnet, just so you have that scratch off ticket. That's why they took B-Rob, so you have that scratcher. Javonte, you're hoping returns back to that 2023 pre-injury form, 2022 form, that type of thing. So I get how this could be good for somebody trying to do this in real life, but it should also be a warning as to if you wait this long in a 12-team league, you might want to really ask yourself, is this a strategy I'm going with?
Agreed. I couldn't agree more. Bobby, thanks for hopping on with me for this mock draft, man. Getting ready for 3 days until the Better and Green 2024 draft guide releases.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. The draft guide, the draft guide's coming out soon. Read the preview. The preview's amazing. If you purchased it last year, there are some new surprises. I'm not going to spoil them for you, but it's the same draft guide that you know and love from last year if you purchased it, but there's also a lot of added material as well. So it's getting even bigger. It's getting even better. And another thing, if you're a little bit hesitant to purchase because you're like, oh, what are you guys, fucking pilgrims? Like, do you still beat off to porno mags instead of the internet? This is a digital fantasy football guide, but you're still getting updates all season long, preseason. Like right now, you're still getting updates. You're still getting commentary. You're basically getting, when you purchase this guide, it's not like we're just going to leave you in the wind and not revise it or keep you aware of what's going on. Obviously, we can't constantly go back and update the guide and, make new copies and all that, but you're getting 24/7 damn near access and support. Like, we're going to continuously be going live, continuously doing mocks, continuously every week, start and sit advice, all that. You're going to be getting updates throughout the whole time, and that's for free. You're not even paying for that. That's just a fringe benefit. So don't be put off by the fact that it's kind of like, I guess, in finger quotations, a traditional fantasy guide. The only thing is it's not a physical copy. Like, if things change and somebody gets injured or something, you're going to be made aware of it. We're going to keep you updated and on top.
Absolutely. Bobby, I don't need to say anything else about it. You completely sold it, man. If you didn't listen, if you want to know more about this draft guide, just go back and re-listen to what Bobby just said. He just said everything you guys need to know. And also make sure you guys head over to Draft Kits. Use our code BIG24 for 10% off your guys' order of your draft board, draft stickers. It's draftkits.co. draftkits.co. And if you want to get the Better and Green Fantasy Guide, it is on our website, bettergreen.com. That's better, BETTOR green.com. Bobby, thanks again for joining. We'll see you guys next time. Peace, guys.
Peace. The last end was hopefully in there because I noticed the live flashed off again. Yeah. So I hope the last 2 minutes were in there. I hope. Okay, maybe it was just, it's just I didn't see live or standby anymore, so I was curious.